I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Seems so far away. Good seating choices tonight, ladies and gentlemen. They put you far away from me, too. I don't like that so much. Shift over here.
I really feel isolated. Give me a break.
I could use his counsel on occasion.
All right, everybody, welcome to the August 17th, 2026. The year's going quick, man. Jackson Township Planning Board meeting. This meeting has been appropriately noticed in all the appropriate forums and places pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. And I will leave it up to Madam Chairwoman.
Hi, good evening, everyone. All of you out there. Welcome. Happy to have company. We'll start with a roll call, please.
Mr. Brezzi.
Here.
Mr. Marzo.
Here.
Mr. Heller.
Here.
Mr. Parks.
Here.
Mr. Rogers.
Here.
Mr. Chemmer. Mr. Sullivan.
Here.
Dr. Campbell.
Here. We'll take a motion for payment of the voucher for the recording secretary for August
Third,
3rd, not the 17th, right?
I'd like to make a motion to pay the voucher. Oh, sorry, it is August 17th.
Oh, it is right for tonight.
Sullivan.
Second, DeMarzo.
Mr. Brezzi.
Yes.
Mr. Marzo.
Yes.
Mr. Heller.
Yes.
Mr. Parks.
Yes.
Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
Dr. Campbell.
Yes, and we'll take a motion for approval of minutes for August 3rd.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the August 3rd, 2026 Planning Board meeting. Sullivan.
Second, DeMarzo.
Mr. Brezzi.
Yes.
Mr. Marzo.
Yes.
Mr. Parks.
Yes.
Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
Dr. Campbell.
Yes. I see Mr. Shea has been busy with resolutions. Thank you for keeping up to date.
Got a few done.
Has a few done. And we'll
I'm on your ends.
have our secretary discuss those with us, please.
Resolution number 2026-23 of the Planning Board of the Township of Jackson, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, granting preliminary and final minor subdivision approval for Mark Properties LLC, Block 23108, Lot 14.
Look for a motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-23. Sullivan.
Second.
Mr. Brezzi.
Yes.
Mr. Marzo.
Yes.
Mr. Parks.
Yes.
Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
Resolution number 2026-24 of the Planning Board of the Township of Jackson, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, granting a one-year time extension for preliminary and final major site plan approval for Ram Development LLC, Block 22301, lots 3.01, 17, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24.
Motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-24. Sullivan.
Second.
Mr. Brezzi.
Yes.
Mr. Heller.
Yes.
Mr. Parks.
Yes.
Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
Dr. Campbell.
Yes. And one more.
And the last one is resolution number 2026-25 of the Planning Board of the Township of Jackson, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, granting minor subdivision approval with required variances for a lot line adjustment for Aaron Trevitsky, Block 5101, lots 20 and 31.
Motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-25. Sullivan.
Second, DeMarzo.
Mr. Brezzi.
Yes.
Mr. Marzo.
Yes.
Mr. Parks.
Yes.
Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
Dr. Campbell.
Yes. We're going to hold off on engineering and planning matters for just a few minutes. I know there are some legal matters we'll be going over, but I do have one thing under board matters for discussion that I'd like to bring up. First, let me commend those board members who do not reply on social media. I'm tempted. I know it's hard. There are occasions when we're spoken of unkindly, but we have long received advice from our attorneys. I've had 3 or 4 of them over the years that have suggested we stay off social media and don't respond. However, that said, last week, the board was criticized on social media for not requiring sidewalks between the gardens and the new Wawa just off 195. I don't know if you had an opportunity, anybody, to see that. This board, as an approval requirement, insisted that the Wawas and Glories provide sidewalks literally to nowhere. It's a corner, long sidewalk that way in front of their property, long sidewalk that way in front of their property, but they go nowhere because there are no other buildings on any of the 3 corners, and there are vast empty lots lying between the Wawa and the Gardens apartment. But we realized on this board that we need to prepare for the future of the township. So we required sidewalks. This board has no power to require owners of undeveloped land to install sidewalks. Let me repeat that for anyone missed it. This board has no power to require owners of undeveloped land to install sidewalks. Further, every applicant before this board must either include sidewalks or the applicant must pay into the Sidewalk Safety Fund for future sidewalk installation as determined for pedestrian safety. I think it's important that we point these things out so that I hope that the people at home, when they look at property and they ask, why didn't the board make them put a sidewalk there? We can't. It's undeveloped property, and we can't force somebody to put sidewalks into undeveloped property. I just thought that might help. It certainly helps me. I wanted to answer very badly, but I try not to, and I try to do it in the appropriate place.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and with that safety pedestrian fund, if you go back many, many years, there's times if you mention sidewalks in front of a development, you'd probably get tarred and feathered. People didn't want sidewalks out here. Today, you need them in areas. So actually, these funds get put aside so that as they're needed, more importantly, in other areas, they can go in as needed. It's paid off in the long run, getting them there where they're dearly needed now, where they may not have been needed years ago, but where they're needed now. And she's absolutely right, to put a sidewalk in the middle of a no place just for the sake of putting a sidewalk. I'd rather see the money come in and put it towards the safety fund and put it where sidewalks are needed.
Thank you, Mr. Brezzi. Appreciate that. Okay, now we have Mr. Rashay has maybe several things here that you want to bring up, but one in particular. The ordinance.
Yeah, so we have to do a consistency review for the pending ordinance that is in front of council at this point. So again, the standard is that the board would have to make a vote as to whether or not it is not inconsistent with the master plan, or it's not inconsistent with the master plan, right? Or the reverse. So just the language of the statute is tricky in the fact that it frames it as not inconsistent. So it kind of sounds like a double negative, but that's the way that the statute uses the language, which is why we phrase the motions in that manner. So just be cognizant of that when whoever's making the vote, that we just use the appropriate language while the vote is taking place.
Okay, so that leads us to Mr. Peters, who is our resident expert as our planner. Mr. Peters, how long have you been in Jackson before this board planning?
On and off 24 24 years.
24 years. Longer than any of us who are sitting here have served. So, well, you've been on and off and on and off. You don't count. I've been in town for 56 years, but that's not the same. Your knowledge of the planning situation in Jackson is very important to us. So we need to hear from you.
Thank you.
Into the microphone, please.
We usually don't have a problem with my volume control. I'd like to remind the board that the statute that Mr. Shea referred to is what we're here to talk about. If we want to talk about whether or not it's a good or bad order, the requirement when the governing body sends something down to the planning board is in the New Jersey Municipal Land Use Law under 40:55D-62. And I'll take a second to read this because I've done this in the past when we've gotten referrals from the governing body that seem to not follow what we've been seeing or what we were trying to accomplish. But 40:55D-62 indicates that the governing body may adopt or amend a zoning ordinance relating to the nature and extent of the uses of land and of buildings and structures thereon. Such ordinance shall be adopted after the planning board has adopted the land use element and the housing plan element of the master plan, which you good folks did in June or July of last year. And all of the provisions of such zoning ordinance or any amendment or revision thereto shall either be substantially consistent with the land use plan element of the master plan or designed to effectuate such plan element. So there has to be some connection between what the governing body did and what's in our ordinance. I took an opportunity to look through the July 2025 master plan, and on page 20, under goals and objectives for land use, what the goal was to achieve a pattern and mix of land uses that achieves various community planning objectives, including the provision of quality residential neighborhoods, the protection of natural resources, the economic development of the community, and the creation of a livable and desirable community. And the first objective listed under land use goals and objectives was to direct growth into areas suited for land development and away from areas appropriate for resource protection. The draft of ordinance 2026-25 in the third and fourth whereas paragraphs on page 1 indicate that the town council further recognizes that high-intensity digital infrastructure uses such as data centers may be incompatible with the environmental protections, infrastructure limitations, and land use objectives mandated within significant portions of the township located in the Pinelands areas. And the Township Council further finds that, due to these characteristics, data centers may not be appropriate within many areas of the township, absent rigorous site-specific review and demonstration of infrastructure capacity and compatibility. Messed up the last word, teacher. So our goal isn't necessarily to debate the pros and cons of the ordinance. I think that's something that happens at the governing body. And if we want to spend some time talking about the pros and cons, that'd be fine. But I want to make sure that when we're finished, that we make our decisions based upon, and again, I'll defer to Mr. Shea to make sure I read the correct sections of the code. We're here to make sure that this ordinance is either substantially consistent with the land use element of the master plan or designed to effectuate such plan element. A number of you were on the master plan subcommittee, so to the extent that I don't know that you needed to talk about specific things because you might have been there forever talking about the things you might build in a town. Does this match up with that? I think that's the discussion I think we should center on.
So I think I'd like to hear from all the members. I do have had some thoughts when I went to the council meeting, listened to your letter that you submitted. Then I spent a lot of time online, spent time with Mr. Shea. When the planning board subcommittee began the master plan back in 2023, not the dark ages, but Ms. DiMarzo, Mr. Heller, and I spent almost 2 years on that, working with professionals. The present concern over an AI data center did not exist. In fact, the term data center up until lately simply defined a physical room, building, or facility for storage, management, and dissemination of information. In the past, it was the military and telephone companies that built them. Today, data centers serve a completely different function. Nowhere in the past or present master plan is the term data center mentioned, nor is construction of an airport, a nuclear waste facility, nor a 10-story building. If a function is not allowed, it's not mentioned. So, Mr. Peters, as a point of clarity, am I correct in understanding that we are not voting tonight for or against the ordinance, since that is isn't a planning board function?
Well,
It's a council
I'm going to give you
function.
2 answers. The short answer to your question is correct. The second answer is we're going to check with your attorney to make sure he agrees. You're not the governing body deciding whether or not this is an ordinance that should be enacted or not. Your sole responsibility is under 40:55 D62, which is to determine if the ordinance is substantially consistent with the land use plan element of the master plan, or if the ordinance was designed to effectuate that plan element. And if you feel that it has, then you would find that it's not inconsistent. If you can't make the connection, then it would be inconsistent.
Thank you. Mr. Brezzi.
Yes. All right. I did vote on this on the council. I voted no. Ernie and everybody here, I definitely understand the way the vote goes tonight. You're voting for consistent or not consistent. And you're around long enough to understand that. And Ernie describes it perfectly. And I had some problems with this, and I still do here. In all purposes, the ordinance written, as it stands now, by the wisdom of the subcommittee for the master plan and what they put together by leaving these different entities out, is not a permitted use. That's where we are now. When you read the ordinance in section 2A, it states, and this is what gives the ordinance to meet, data centers shall not be listed as a permitted or conditional use in any zoning district within the Township of Jackson. That brings us right back to where we are now. The problem I have by the master plan, contradicting the master plan with an ordinance, if we're finally protected by the municipal land use law on this, where it's not a permitted use, they have to go in front of the zoning board. With the ordinance, they still get to go in front of the zoning board. They may have to say a little more to prove their case, but that's the only difference. They still got to go in front of the zoning board for a D1 variance. So my opinion, although that part matches the consistency, the ordinance doesn't, because it put buffers and speed bumps in where it helps the applicants and the attorneys to fight this. When you're in the right and you try to add too much right, you can hurt yourself. And that's what this does. The ordinance really attacks the credibility of the master plan and the people that put it together, because it says clearly it's not a permitted use. And the master plan subcommittee and this planning board voted on that and the council voted on it. So it was established that it's not a permitted use. And the MLUL states it's not a permitted use. Now, you see many cases where lawyers and applicants fight the ordinances. You don't see many cases where they fight the municipal land use laws. If anything, it's on interpretation. Currently, they're not allowed in any zone at all. At all. They are not permitted. So one simple way to put it, if they go to the zoning board and they appeal it, they can appeal it and appeal the ordinance. As per the township attorney, I want to read a sentence, what he says can happen. By signing out a particular use to be banned by affirmative legislation, it permits a developer of the same to argue the township itself, and therefore the zoning board, is also biased against their application. What that means when I talk to them is a couple of things. One, the township council appoints the zoning board. So now you're saying it's prohibited by the council. You're telling the people you're appointing the zoning board, you can't vote for it. So it's taking away the freedoms of the zoning board to do their job, to hear the D1 variance clearly in their minds. That's why I say this can help big applicants, big money applicants, big attorneys to turn stuff around. That's to appeal something and take it to one judge to feel the way they feel. And in the ordinance, if you go through the whole thing, like I read, it takes you back to square one, exactly where you are today. They're not permitting any data center in any zone in the town. So you have that already, not protected by ordinance, but protected by the municipal land use laws. And out of all the attorneys I spoke to, they all said, at most, the ordinance can do does not stop them from going to the zoning board. They're still entitled to that. It's still a D1 variance. They may have to put a little more emphasis on what they have to present as a good thing to have and all that. Good luck with them doing that with a data center. That's the only change. Other than that, you're contradicting the master plan because it's not a permitted use. What you're doing, you've heard applicants come in as conditional use is permitted. My opinion, that's one of the worst things in land use. When you do conditional uses, the applicant will find ways to meet a conditional use. So now when you have an ordinance like this, they have ways they can challenge the ordinance on its own in 45 days once it's adopted. They can challenge it anywhere when their application comes in. They can challenge the ordinance along with the decision of a zoning board. It gives them that many more bites at the apple. And I really feel that hurts the credibility of the master plan, the work these people did on the master plan, and to get us where we are today. And that's basically why I voted no. I'll take any questions you have on it. And I got the letters here from the lawyers. And that's what it says. I got a letter from Ernie Peters. Ernie, if you don't mind reading your last sentence. In summary, we do not believe that the adopting of prohibiting ordinance offers the township any additional protection from land use perspective. That was Ernie's final sentence. And you rather heard one from the township attorney, and I spoke to other land use attorneys, and they all feel the same way. It doesn't cut and dry protect you more, but it can give the applicant and their attorneys more to fight with. So that's why I'm against this ordinance. I do realize I have to be is it consistent or not consistent. I feel with the ordinances, it is not consistent.
Any questions, any comments, Mr. Rogers?
Yes, I read both documents, and maybe I'm wrong, and I know Mr. President has much more experience than I do. I thought the ordinance gave the possibility of a data center in the future. And I thought the language in the master plan allowed for new interpretations of businesses to be considered. It doesn't?
No, it does not. It does not allow for the consideration because it's not named, it's not mentioned. However, the ordinance does mention.
I understand that, but there's one section where it says the master plan will be, in the future will consider the needs and economic benefits to the town. Isn't that a consideration?
And let's remember where we live. We live in the center of the Pinelands, and the Pinelands Commission and the DEP, the chances of them ever even considering that in this area is a non-starter.
Well, that's up to them, but
Yes.
in our,
But this would go to the zoning board. It would not come to the planning board. It's a matter of zoning. And they already are protected against that development. Just as we said, if we don't say you can't build an airport, you can't build a nuclear waste pit, you can't build a 10-story building. They're not identified there specifically for a reason, because anything that's not permitted is not permitted.
Right. You want me to? So I'll take it back to like first principles, right? So with the planning board, in ordinance review like this, what the planning board does is called a consistency review, right? And just to keep it simple, forget the language of the statute. You guys have to just make a finding as to whether or not the ordinance presented to you is consistent or inconsistent with the language of the master plan. That's just at its very like foundational first principle elements. That's what we do here, right? When it comes down to what's in the ordinance tonight, so there's two different types of uses. One is a non-permitted use, which is like when we're at the planning board here, you see a list of uses permitted and then conditionally permitted, and typically anything that's not permitted, conditionally permitted, is considered not permitted, right? This is going beyond the non-permitted aspect. It's prohibiting the use specifically. So the legal consequences and ramifications of that are, no matter what happens, it's a D1 variance, right? So whether you're a non-permitted use or you're a prohibited use, you have to file for what's called a D1 variance in order to build it or get an approval for it. That goes through the zoning board. Now, what happens, the difference between a non-permitted use and a prohibited use is that it goes to the legal test doesn't change. It's still the D1 test. The D1 test requires, it's a lot like the C2 variance that we see here with additional legal hurdles that you have to pass, right? So what happens with the non-permitted use, you have the positive and negative prongs. The negative prong has, you have to make sure that it's not detrimental, substantially detrimental to the master plan, zoning plan, neighborhood scheme, all that stuff. That's for regular non-permitted. If you prohibit something, what it does is that it adds an additional detriment to the zoning and ordinance negative prong. So it doesn't change the legal standard, but the weight of evidence that needs to be presented by a professional planner is increased. The legal standard doesn't change, but the weight of evidence is increased. So that's the legal ramifications of the ordinance that's presented in front of us. The legal standard itself, the D1, doesn't change. The evidentiary weight that needs presented by the applicant's professionals does. So that's kind of the gist of it. Now, when it comes down to what you guys have to do, you have to, take a look at the master plan, put this ordinance up against it, and identify whether it's consistent or inconsistent with the language as contained in the master plan, utilizing it's truly a planning function of this board. So utilizing the findings of our planner and your own experiences and your own review, is it consistent or inconsistent regarding what's in front of you, right? That's so you have the change in legal standard combined with the consistent aspect of it that you guys have got to take into consideration.
So what you're saying to me is, Chairman said, I'm sorry. What you're saying is, as the chairman said, that if it's not listed, it's a prohibited use. Non-permitted, yes. Non-permitted, is that correct?
Correct.
So if it's not listed, it's non-permitted. What this ordinance does is specifically prohibits, and that increases the evidentiary burden at the D1 level. It doesn't impact us because any non-permitted or prohibited use goes to the zoning board, right? But this is just a finding of whether or not this ordinance has roots and grounds in the current master plan, which is the deliberations that you guys have to have.
Mr. Heller, you have any questions or comments?
No, I think Mr. Shea put it very eloquently, made it very understandable. Mr. Bressi also, great points. I hear them both. Regarding beneficial use, is there anyone that can elaborate at all if there is any beneficial use whatsoever to data centers in Jackson? Maybe the professionals, or I don't see any personally, but I'm curious for discussion on that.
Ms. DiMarzo, what are your thoughts? You spent a lot of time on this.
No, I agree with you. The fact that we didn't list it, it is definitely already not permitted. And the way the ordinance is written right now, it's very vague. And I do think it would really open up a door that we don't need to do. And I think the master plan definitely, we didn't think about it really, but I think we're good the way we are. And I don't think that this is consistent with the master plan.
I know you're new to us, Mr. Parks, but any thoughts?
Yes, having read through again the master plan specifically for this, relevant parts of it, it was very useful to listen to this discussion because I realized with that knowledge that it doesn't appear to me to be consistent with the master plan. And certainly outlining the ramifications of it being not permitted, sorry, I forgot the terminology you used, but beyond not permitted is a danger. And it could open up, as you say, an avenue for these to be actually installed in the township.
And last but not least,
Honestly, it's if you look at the wording, and I know I seen some legal interpretations of this. It's really a meaningless ordinance. It's placating to the public because they fear this is an issue, but in reality, it doesn't change anything. Anybody that would want to build a data center would have to go to the zoning board, would require a D1 variance. That doesn't change that. Whether or not this is consistent or inconsistent with the master plan, I suppose it's inconsistent in that it's addressing something that doesn't need to be addressed, and that it is creating a perception that the governing body is directing the zoning board to have a certain shaded belief towards an application when the zoning board is an independent body. I don't think people quite realize that. Planning boards are appointed by the town, they're appointed by the mayor. We are not an independent body. The zoning board, however, is appointed by the council, but it's considered an independent body because they are working outside the scope of the master plan and the zoning. They can give people variances that would allow them to build something that is technically not allowed in the master plan or in the zoning. To have the council direct the zoning board to have an opinion towards certain types of applications would open up the township to litigation that it might lose, and therefore the ordinance would create an issue that the ordinance is trying to fight. It's a catch-22. So no, it is not consistent with the master plan, and at the same time, it does not affect the planning board. This is a zoning board issue.
this has been very helpful. I think it's been very helpful to all of us to hear this. So before we go to a vote, Mr. Peters, I'll put you on the spot one more time with a simple yes or no. Is this consistent with the master plan?
It's not a simple yes or no answer.
Thank you. I know.
You're asking for a yes or no answer to what amounts to a popularity contest.
I understand. I
I
understand.
don't disagree with any of the comments the board members have made, but I'm not sure that this ordinance wasn't crafted for the purposes of reconciling itself with the master plan.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, so give us one more shot at how this should be verbalized. What's the exact language here?
Just keep it simple, and somebody makes a motion to either have it consistent with the master plan or inconsistent with the master plan.
I like simple. Simple's
So
good.
keep it simple, but, that's it.
Okay. All right. So we seek a motion regarding the consistency or the inconsistency with the master plan.
I'd like to make the motion, especially that was brought out further that by the attorney, that his ordinance was placed to be so minimal that the applicants can just go in and, like a conditional use, add more testimony to their applicant and sue it. And I'll refer to the main thing that Mr. Sullivan brought up. By assigning out a particular use to banned by affirmative legislation permits a developer to same argue the township itself, and therefore a zoning board is biased against the application. And that would be a loss all the way around. It would also ruin the master plan because they'd make you turn that around. That's happened in this town before. So with all that said, and I think I have enough here, that's why I voted no. I'm not telling nobody else how to vote. In my opinion, this is all my opinion, what I found. I make a motion that it is not consistent with the master plan.
I just want to be clear on this, though.
Inconsistent with the master.
Right, that it prohibited use would increase the weight of evidence and burden of proof on the negative criteria of a D1 variance regarding that type of use. So
The zoning board's position.
that would be a zoning
Nothing to
board
do with
issue,
the
but
master plan.
it does increase the weight and burden of proof on the negative side.
We're in the middle of a motion. So why don't you restate that motion, Mr. Brezzi?
Once again, with what I presented, I make a motion. This is not consistent, especially with the minimal effect it has for the applicant to just add some more testimony to try to wean his way through the zoning board. So my motion is it is not consistent with the master plan.
We'll look for a second, please.
I'll second that motion, Sullivan.
We'll have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Brezzi,
Vote yes for not consistent.
Mr. Marzo,
Yes, we're not consistent.
Mr. Heller,
I believe based on Mr. Peters, we were here to vote. If it's consistent or not consistent, I vote yes, that it is consistent with the master plan.
You're voting that is consistent with the master plan. So
Consistent.
you're voting no on the,
It would be a no to the vote.
it's a no to the vote.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Parks,
I vote yes to it being inconsistent with the master plan.
Mr. Rogers,
I'm going to vote yes. It's inconsistent.
Mr. Sullivan,
Yes, it's inconsistent.
Dr. Campbell.
Yes, it is inconsistent with the master plan. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for the time and the good ideas. And now we'll move on. I hope you enjoyed that little exercise we just went through. And come on down. Okay. Mr. Pfeffer, welcome.
Good evening. Are we ready?
We are.
Good evening, Adam Pfeffer, attorney on behalf of the applicant. The application this evening, we are seeking preliminary and final site plan approval to construct a 20,000 square foot building for a contractor warehouse and to retain the existing approximately 6,100 square foot existing contractor warehouse office showroom. The application this evening is located in the HC Highway Commercial Zone. The proposed uses and the existing buildings are all permitted uses within the zone. I do want to take a couple minutes because it's a little bit confusing. If we can just to discuss the actual site. And again, Graham and Mr. Fong will get into all the sworn testimony, but it's being in Jackson a long time, this is even confusing to me. As I'm sure some or most of probably all the board members have either taken a drive past the location or looked online on Google. So the property is located, again, along East Commodore Boulevard at the intersection of William Street and the north, or behind it is Diana Road. The confusing part, and again, goes back over 20 years, the front portion of William Street was vacated previously. So when you drive past and you see the sign William Street and you see the road there, that's not a township road. So the front portion, at least, a little bit about, I don't know, a third of the way down the road, it is a public, it is a paper street, and then Diana is also a paper street that is somewhat gravel, but it's a road. But the front portion of William Street has already previously been vacated. I did give, before the meeting started, I did take an opportunity just to give a copy of the ordinance to Mr. Shea, just so he has it for his file. Again, that was done back in 2004. I can't tell you why. I can't explain any of it. I have no idea, but the Township Committee did vacate the front portion of that. The reason why it's important to go through
some of this before we get into the actual testimony. And some of this I'm stating more because I'm sure we'll get into a discussion, and the board may have some other suggestions, and we'll go from there. We did discuss prior to submitting this application the idea of vacating or requesting a vacation of the remainder of William Street. Again, you can't get to William Street unless you go through Diana. There are, though, also 2 single-family houses that are on Diana. But again, technically, at the end of William Street, it's not a public road anymore. So theoretically, it's not really an access point that the public could use. I'm not saying they don't use it today, but it's really, as a technical matter, it's been vacated. So we did discuss the concept of, do we want to go ahead and request the application to vacate the remaining portion of the street before we submit this application? And I know that always comes with which comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? Sometimes I've seen applicants do that, and then they get to the township committee and they say, why are we doing this yet? You know, if you have an application coming, let's see what happens with the application, then come back. Additionally, I asked Mr. McFarland, I said, had the road been vacated, what would you have designed differently on this application? And he indicated nothing. That really the application has been designed, so it really wouldn't make much of an effect if we vacated the rest of it or we didn't. However, it would eliminate a couple of the setbacks. Again, because we're on a street, public street, so we do have some front yard setbacks for that portion of the road. And the only other thing that Mr. McFarland indicated, again, we'll get testimony shortly, is that he would just add some buffering and some landscaping in the area that would have been vacated. All of this, I think, is important to start with, because, again, these roads are dirt, other than the front portion of the intersection of Commodore and Williams. It's all gravel, compacted road, and Diana as well as, I believe, gravel roadway as well. And so we'll have a discussion about Diana. Diana's road is not going anywhere. We have some comments. I know we've been some discussions with your professionals about what we may or may not, what we should do there, or what could work. But I just wanted all that to be kind of on the forefront of everyone's mind when we're hearing the application, because I do think it's important, especially as, I drive past that street all the time and you see the street sign and it says William Street, you think it's a street.
no street.
You could turn down there, it's a street. However, as a technicality, it's been vacated. With all that, again, just as the premise, we do have some variances, but we'll get through some of that testimony. At this moment, if we can, we'll have Mr. McFarland sworn in. We'll address his credentials, have him accepted as an expert.
All right. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Please state and spell your last for the record.
Sure, it's Graham McFarlane, MacFarlane, professional engineer, professional planner, previously qualified and testified before this board a few times.
The board accepts your credentials.
Welcome
Thank you. It's good to be here
back.
again.
Welcome back, I should say.
Thank you. Yes, as Mr. Pfeffer indicated, one of the first items to just get clarity on is the disposition of William Street. You can see we have an aerial up on the screen, and Anthony, maybe on that top, if you just zoom in for me on that front portion of the site. We'll just spend another couple minutes on that and then get into the merits of the entire application. So you can see the subject property in pink, block 2202, lot 3. Contains a little over 2 acres, about 2.2 acres, with frontage on East Commodore. Also has frontage on Diana Road in the back. And then William Street, as we discussed, is a 33-foot right-of-way. The front portion of William Street, for about 200 feet, was vacated in 2004 and became a part of Lot 40, which lies to the south of the subject property. The balance of William Street from that point back to Diana remained as public right-of-way, as a 33-foot public right-of-way. The existing, I'm going to call it the existing William Street, the existing driveway, and there's a street sign for William Street, right about there.
If I could just ask the board, I don't know what the answer to this is, but a paper road setbacks is the same standard as a regular road, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So there is a street sign, right about there, just north of the property line that says William Street. A passerby, a member of the general public would certainly think that that is a public right of way, but in fact, again, that portion has been vacated. And again, the right of way does exist in the back portion of this property. The existing access road, again, goes from West Commodore back to Diana, that is currently used by the current operation on the site and used by the adjacent business on lot 40, the car repair shop or whatever the heck that is. You can see the existing building on site, which is planned to remain. You can see the back portion of the site for quite some time has been used as outside storage for some of the businesses that occupy the site. The two businesses occupying the site are currently one owned by our client. The applicant is a concrete business, so he has an office in the front portion of the building, and he was using the back part of the building for storage of various materials for that business. And then he has a granite countertop business in there as well, who uses the back portion of the existing building, and they have some outside storage of granite slabs and such on the premises. This application is proposing to remove those outdoor storage activities, bring this plan way more into compliance with ordinance requirements, propose the new warehouse, keep the existing building, propose a new warehouse building, provide the required parking and other improvements in accordance with ordinance requirements. So would you like to, do you have any questions about the William Street and the vacation, or do you want me to just continue with the rest of the application?
I like the way you explained it, which came first, the chicken or the egg. So if you get this approval, then you will still have to go and get something done with this street
Well,
that doesn't really exist?
we would like to vacate the right-of-way. And interesting here is that when this front piece was vacated, based upon the way the lands and the lots were created initially.
Vacated by the council?
Vacated by council by the ordinance, which I think you have a copy of, right?
I have an extra one.
2004, that was the committee. not the
Ordinance in
council.
2004.
I
That
think
was by the
Mr.
committee,
Brezzi
not the council.
remembers it.
2004 was the committee, not the council.
Ordinance was adopted in 2004 to vacate that right-of-way, and it was dedicated to, it was a different lot number at the time, but it's now lot 40. As Mr. Pfeffer said, unfortunately, we don't know the history and the how and why that happened, but it certainly did happen.
Was a while back.
Yes. And what's a little confusing is that the tax map has never been updated to show that. The current tax map, you can see on our cover sheet, still shows William Street as a right-of-way all the way out to East Commodore. And when we first started looking at it, of course, we started scratching our head. We do our survey. Our surveyor collects deeds and information and maps, and he comes to me and says, hey, here, it was vacated, and, so our survey shows that that portion of William Street was in fact vacated.
50% to either owner, right?
No, it went all to lot 40.
As long as was that recorded in the chain of title?
So when you say J, it all
Yeah,
went
did
to
anybody file anything like,
the ordinance? Well, the ordinance.
right, but did the property owner file anything like deed-wise, or did?
I'm on the way, again, it's a neighboring property. I did
No,
not
okay.
search that.
Oh, I have a question on that.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the ordinance and it's lot 56. Is that,
Correct. The lot numbers changed.
The lot-
numbers were
so-
changed in the town probably about 10, 12 years ago. When
okay, so lot
tax maps-
56 is now lot 40.
lot 40, yeah.
Gotcha.
Tax maps were redone. All lot block
I got a question on
changed.
Mr. Brezzi?
On a road that's vacated, I thought it always went 50% one way,
No,
both ways.
That's the general rule.
Yeah, so why did
But
it go
it-
one direction? How'd that
it-
wind up?
So again, we weren't there, but usually it goes to where the lot was created from, where the road was created from. So originally, if they
But-
took it out of lot 40,
I don't know if we can share this, but this was a map from the adjoining property when it was
Well, what I was
surveyed.
trying to accomplish, we can definitely guarantee it went to the one lot, so we're using the right lines here.
yes. No,
Yes.
What we're showing is correct.
So typically, because the board doesn't have that many road vacations pop up in front of it, so I'll just kind of give you the background. So what happens to the road vacation legally is that just as a matter of the ordinary course, it's typically split 50%, like 50% goes to the person on the right, 50% goes to the person on the left. What happens is that in some situations, you have one property owner, they can waive their interest, right? So like if you had a paper road with you, in between you and your next door neighbor, you can go to your next door neighbor and say, hey, listen, if you sign a waiver, I'll pay for all of the costs of doing the road vacation, filing the applications, getting the survey, all that stuff, if you give me your side. That happens all the time, right? That's an ordinary kind of customary practice. So the only thing that we're missing here is probably the waiver that they executed between each other, which is why the council vacated it all towards one property and not the other. So just kind of reading in between the lines is probably what happened in 2004. That happens a good amount of the time. I say like 20 to 30% of the time with road vacations. We typically don't see that here as a board because all that happens at the township council level. So that's why it never pops up on our area. But I follow those things all the time. That happens quite a bit.
So all that would be clarified through the deed then? That could all be
Mr. Heller?
clarified through the deed?
Can we clarify with the deed? It was clarified all with the survey work.
And the deed would show that exactly the same?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Heller, your question?
Sorry, so if you would get an approval here tonight, you're going to go then to get the road vacated,
it's-
50-50 with the
So again,
neighbors?
So it's part of the conversation to have to the board. So as I started out saying, I asked Mr. McFarland if we had already vacated the street, would he have designed our application differently? And he indicated no, but again, he would add just buffering in that area that would come back to us. Now, so it's kind of part of a conversation. Does the board also support the request to have it vacated and clean this up? We would ask, again, part of a conversation, one thought process is we'd say, yeah, we're happy to request that street to be vacated. We would like the board, obviously, if you guys are in favor of it as well, just to say yes, that we'll pass that recommendation on to the board.
And whom may that affect? Would it affect anyone?
So that's the next part of the conversation. So
Especially with Diana.
right. So again, right. So on one hand, you have two residential houses to the rear of the property. Again, they have Diana, which then goes out to Herman.
To Herman?
To Herman and goes right out. So we would not be blocking any access whatsoever. We would be cleaning up in the sense that, again, technically William Street is not a public right-of-way. So there are issues with cars driving on that front portion, liability issues, township also in terms of cleaning the roadway. There's some other items that get cleaned
Snow
up.
plowing?
All of that stuff. Maintenance, again, it is a dirt road, but it's still, like I said, you drive past it, you think it's a public right-of-way.
I drove down it, so
Yes.
I know the condition it's in. I was confused just driving
That's why
down
we
it.
said Graham and I spoke earlier, we said we got to take a few minutes in the beginning before we get into the actual testimony to discuss this.
So no one will be adversely affected
Correct.
because they will still have access to Herman, which is frankly a better road to access and go in and out of.
Correct.
All right. And this would clean up that situation, and then William Street would be removed entirely from,
If the township, there would be a request to vacate the paper street. If the township committee votes in favor, it would then be removed. It would no longer, it would be deeded over to either split 25, 20, if I'm coming right away. It is
33 foot.
So they're half to the left and half to the right.
So there's a township council, there's a township road vacation application.
Correct.
But there's a formal one that you have to fill out the application, attach a survey, submit it. So we can make it conditional at the board level that the applicant has to fill that in, file it with the township council and get the approval and
All
just
right.
make it conditional.
That'll
upon
be a
zoning.
Because we don't have the authority to do
No,
that.
we don't grant.
recommend.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think that just the conversation
I have
would
a
be,
question.
we are perfectly fine making the application. If for some reason we're going to put the testimony on for the other variances. If the township committee, town council says, we don't want to vacate this street, if the board still hears the rest of our testimony and approves the application, you'll hear all of our testimony if that road remains. All I'm saying is we would like to try and have it vacated. We can't control that. This board can't control that. It's only the township council that.
But it would be a requirement
Well,
in
we
the end
would-
result.
We would make it a condition.
To make the application.
Yeah.
I'd like to add one thing to that. Graham, you already said that if you vacate the road, you wouldn't change the plans at all, correct?
Correct.
So when you make the application to vacate the road, you state that on there, that there'll be no additional development or anything by vacating the road.
Yes, and we would go one step further, 'cause when I asked Graham that same question before the hearing, he said he would have add buffering. We would add a condition that should this board approve it, and we make the application to the council, and council agrees to vacate it, only thing we would put there would be buffering, so additional.
I think it's important you put that on the application so that the council would know that you're not doing it to expand the
Yes.
use that you have there.
We have no issue with that whatsoever.
In fact, that would benefit to the point that it would mean there would be no further development of that property other than this contractor's warehouse.
Correct.
On those lines, it's still, seems like maybe on the west side, it is going slightly into the buffer. I'm not sure if that was a variance currently, the structure, the warehouse itself, on
Yes,
the west
we'll-
corner.
We'll get to that in a
So-
second. Just wanted to focus on William Street, what was going on with that before we got to the
Okay.
rest of the application. Wanted to make sure the board had full understanding of the history, the situation, and what our intention is.
That's great
And
planning.
just to be clear, the applicant is not going to disturb if they obtain the road vacation, they're not going to disturb the vacated area.
When
Right.
you take the start, it's just gravel, we're gonna put buffering and
Okay.
vegetation. We're not putting any buildings. We would put, again, a buffer.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
Why don't we go to the plan? At some point, we're sort of running afoul. I appreciate Mr. Pfeffer's testimony. We keep intertwining the road right-of-way and the word road. So I was wondering, can we get the cover sheet of the plans up on the screen, please? Just the, first sheet of the set of plans if we have them.
Yep, the site plan.
Now, Anthony, you have to go to the full set.
It's the cover
Not just
page.
the exhibits and the full set, please.
On the township website, not.
Right, correct.
Yeah, not, if you.
Not
go to
just the
township
exhibit.
website.
Graham, why don't you go over and show him what you have in mind?
We could probably use this.
The cover page, this. Mhm.
What is this font? What is that font? Oh, that's.
Page one, you want the cover.
It was up on the site.
We can use a site plan if we don't have the cover sheet.
I don't think he has
We-
access to it.
We could go back to the last exhibit.
I didn't see it there. I know I saw it this afternoon on the website.
Mr. Peters, it's still you.
If we could just go back to the site plan drawing,
Exhibit A2, Anthony?
if we could blow up to where that sort of blue area is, please. So, Mr. McFarland, the area shaded in blue is the 33-foot right-of-way that was vacated and granted to the property owner to the east, correct?
Correct, that's the former right-of-way of William Street, yes.
So we can't see on this plan, but in this location, can you explain to the board where the physical roadway of William Street is with regards to the property line between your property and the property across the street?
I can, it's on there, just a little tricky to see because there's some multiple lines appearing. Right under where it says sign, right there, that is the southern edge of the current travel way.
So generally
Right
speaking,
there.
for the 200 or 215 feet that was vacated and given to the property owner to the south, William Street's pretty much on your property.
Correct.
So when we're done with this application, that portion of William Street, the actual dirt road, won't exist anymore because they're going to build a new road, which you can see on this plan. So that needs to be part of the resolution that for this portion of William Street, they're responsible on their property to get rid of William Street. Because if you leave it there, the local, they're going to drive down it. And quite frankly, if you were out at the site, the use on the other side of the road uses William Street. And these guys are going to get rid of it. So I think it needs to be clear what's going to happen to William Street. Because at this point in time, a very small portion of it is on the private property, which used to be lots, it's now lot 40, correct, Mr. McFarland?
Correct.
But most of the existing road of William Street near the intersection of East Commodore is on the subject property, and they're getting rid of it. As we go past the area in blue, was it my understanding to either to Mr. Pfeffer or Mr. McFarland, you're only proposing to vacate the right-of-way up to Diana, right?
Diana, correct.
Okay. So just for the record, on their side of the property, they own all the property up to Diana. On the opposite side of the street, as you look at your plans, it's called Lot 3. Lot 3 is basically the open space for the multifamily project next door. So they only have to deal with one person. The homeowners association for, I forgot the name of the.
Willow Point.
Willow Point.
Willow Point.
So asking for a right-of-way vacation of the remainder of William Street up to Diana is only between them, Willow Point, and the governing body. So I don't have a problem with the board making a recommendation. We don't have any approval authority. We don't review it. It's just if they want to get rid of it, it's a good idea. My concern is in that right-of-way area, once again, as you pass the existing vacated portion of William Street starts to go back where it belongs. Is that correct, Mr. McFarland?
Yes, it kind of zigs further to the south.
And so
towards the
now what
bottom of the
happens
plan.
is, and again, for the very few people who live north of the intersection of Diana and William, which I think is one house, and then the emergency access to Willow Point, that cul-de-sac at the end. As someone leaves the right-hand side of the page, and they used to go down William Street until they got to East Commodore, they have to make a right at Diana, then go down to Herman and make a left at Herman. All those movements are fine. The problem is that physically out in the field, this road's still going to exist in a public right-of-way. So we're going to need to decide what portion of this, of the existing dirt William Street, the applicant is responsible to remove or to sign to the police department or emergency services satisfaction so that people don't start driving down and end up stuck.
Yeah.
Because at some point in time, while I'm sure the applicant's a nice guy,
He's
They're
not going to maintain.
they're building an access through their property.
Yeah.
And in theory, I would assume it's going to be private. But once you get past the intersection of Diana and William, the road doesn't go anywhere anymore. It's just going to sort of stop. And then as William Street starts to bleed onto the applicant's property, they're going to get rid of it. We're going to put in a resolution, any part of William Street's on their property, got to get ripped up. Now, To the extent that the applicant says, well, we'll just take William Street up completely, that being the public right of way, that'd be nice, but I'm not sure. we
But
can make
that's
them do
the
that.
township's purview, not this board's
But
purview.
my point is that they're getting rid of the improved portion of an existing street simply by putting the roadway through their property or the access drive through their property. So there's still this part from Diana towards the vacated portion in blue that's up in the air. Again, one or two people may use this, but I think it's this board or this applicant's responsibility, whether they talk to us about it or they talk to the cops about it, someone in responsible charge has to say what needs to be done at this intersection where they're going to ask for this roadway to be vacated. Because otherwise, yes, we're just going to leave this leaky bag either at the governing body or in front of the Public Works Department or someone.
So we could make that conditional upon approval that they would have to work on this road access with the police department, the
Yes,
fire
sir.
department, the town council, or
Madam
I
whoever
Chair-
else.
Madam Chair.
Before the end of this evening, I'd leave it up to Mr. McFarland and Mr. Pfeffer to give us an idea of what their thought process is. It's important to note that right-of-way is right-of-way. It's lines on a paper, and we can give them up, half to Doug and half to Ernie. The street that's out there, something needs to happen with it because a portion of it now goes onto the applicant's property, and he's not continuing it out to East Commodore. He's building an access drive through the property. Again, I really don't have a whole bunch to say about the property. It's a nice site plan. My concern is that someone has to be in charge, whether it's us as the board saying, you need to give us a plan, or you need to go get a review by Emergency Services, Public Works, and the Police Department to figure out what to do with William Street between Diana and East Commodore.
Could we give that job to Mr. Clee?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I usually try to
I
do
think
nice
that,
jobs.
I think that job should be definitely between the police department and the engineer. William Street, I'm very familiar with for a lot of reasons. The way it's been used has not been the best way in anybody's interest. There's been a lot of stuff going on there, and I'll trust that every cop knows William Street and every bump right away. So anything we can do to improve it, but any improvements done on it or vacated, I think should go through the police department. It's been, in the last 10 years, really used in the wrong fashions. So this would definitely be an improvement, but I think you got to run it past the police department too.
So I agree, and I'm pretty sure as part of the application to vacate a paper street, the application that Mr. Shea was talking about, part of those is they go through each of the departments.
But I would suggest you emphasize the police department for that stretch because they got a history there.
Not a problem.
So,
It would still require something from the applicant
Yes.
at that
Yes.
intersection because the intersection of William and Diana is on their property as well. So
Well,
while
there's not, correct.
Correct, but
No, correct. I say-
It is, yeah,
at some point,
at the
I
end.
think the applicant and Mr. McFarland need to put something on a plan that Mr. Clee or the police department can review. It says what's going to be done when you're finished with the project.
Yes, we take
And
no exception to
and
that.
that's why I'm saying the police department has to be involved because they may want to keep a clean access to there for many reasons.
okay, so let's talk about stipulations that we can put on this thing to address everything that we just discussed. So let's just walk it down one by one to make sure that the board and I can write this thing and it makes sense, right? So if you guys want to contribute some stipulations to address Mr. Peters' concerns, and we'll just walk it down.
Yes, so stipulations, one would be that the applicant has to make as part of, should the board vote in favor of the application, the applicant has to make an application to have the remainder of William Street vacated. Said application must also be sent to the fire and to the police department for their review. That's A.
We made representation that if William Street is vacated, we would add additional landscaping within that portion of William Street that is to be vacated.
That would be, you'll remove
The roadway.
the road base
Correct.
of William Street and
Remove any,
supplement it with-
remove any portion of the existing roadbed within that portion being vacated and replace that with landscape, subject to the approval of the board professional staff.
Mr. Cleed, any thoughts?
Yeah, that's fine. And the governing body, there's a couple, and the
Correct.
police
Yes.
department, a few different people, were weighing in.
I also agree with Mr. Peters' recommendation that the plan has to show, an improvement of the intersection of Diana Road and the remaining portion of William Street, as that portion of the existing roadway is mostly on our subject PIQ. So there will have to be some work done to, let's say, realign that intersection of Diana and William Street.
Make
So
it
that-
safe, make it safe, make it neat.
So that it is within the remaining right-of-way.
Can I just ask a question? I have, the Jackson Township Police Department issued a letter on July 14th, and they're saying,
I apologize, I really apologize for cutting you off. It's not for this application. It's for a
Oh.
different application.
Okay.
It's for the application when they weren't taking William Street and putting it inside their project. It's from 2025, correct? The police report?
no, the one that I'm looking at is from July 14th of 2026.
Okay.
And it just says that the traffic safety unit is recommending no entrance exit onto Diana Road.
So I saw that letter. So my comment, number one, first and foremost, we will comply with the police report, with whatever they recommend. However, that, again, as Mr. McFarland indicated earlier, I think they're unaware that the front portion of William Street was previously vacated because the tax roll is not correct, the tax maps. So with regard to the application, they also are not, we didn't propose any modifications or improvements to Diana Road. We're going to get to that conversation. So I believe I don't want to speak for them, but in reading the same letter, I think that their comments were based upon the existing roadway. I believe it's only 16 feet wide, gravel roadway. So we're going to discuss some of those changes. We would propose some improvements to Diana Road and then send that back to the police for their review and approval. So I think that's the reason why, I don't want to speak for them, but read the letter. I did see that.
So that would be a condition of approval.
We'd have to get
I have
police. Yes.
Question.
Mr.
You also will copy the fire department, because I think they use that back access to a point entrance as an emergency, I'm not sure. So you don't want to cut that off for the fire department either. So you have to just mix it together. You can make it work, there's plenty of room there. I think anything you did there would be an improvement, but it's got to be done through all the departments.
We agree.
All right. And you're going to do that before or after the road vacation application?
So again, Diana Road is going to be discussed no matter what
Yeah.
improvements to Diana Road, because we'll get to the testimony soon and you'll hear about, we'll get to it. But as far as the street vacation, again, we'll put the request in, should the board, vote in favor, as soon as we get a resolution, I would put that application in right away. How long it takes the township to vote on that or approve it.
Right, but it's going to be conditional upon that approval. And the fire and
this is what I asked
traffic.
earlier, so we would like it to be conditioned upon the request, and then we should have I guess 1A conversation would be, what happens if it does not get approved to be vacated? What the board would like to see on that balance of the street.
I think the vacation, we're saying, would have to occur in order to be approved, or you'd have to come back.
And would the board, at a minimum, at least support our request for the street vacation? Again, you have no say in the vote, but based upon the planning and the application.
That's another put the cart before the horse, isn't it? Here, we can only do so much from here. Mr. McFarland,
Madam Chair,
your question, Mr.
I guess
Peters?
I don't often disagree with you. Certainly, I don't try to in public, but I don't know that there's any loss if the governing body doesn't vacate the road. We would just have them deal with the town about what to do with William Street. So if they vacated the road, that's great. They would get 25 or 50 feet, and the condo complex across the street would get some property. But the idea is we'd have to get rid of the road because it won't be usable anymore. If the right-of-way wasn't vacated and it stayed on the maps, the same thing still has to happen. You still got to get rid of William Street. Because at some point it goes back on their property and it won't be there anymore. So the place to cut it off is the intersection. And Graham, I apologize, I don't know if there's any map that you have that clearly shows just where William Street is as it relates to the right-of-way?
Well, the site
think
plan.
this does.
Site plan does show it, just that the line work's a little wonky. Anthony, if you can scroll over for me.
I think this one does. It shows the
Yeah, it shows it.
No,
intersection.
back, A2 to the site plan sheet, please. And
Just go to the back of the property. Just go to the right.
There it is.
It shows
And
it.
then if you can maybe zoom in on the more towards the back portion. Yeah. See, the bottom of William Street is kind of right where this text is that says William Street. So the existing roadway is here. It's along the, I mean, in fact, it's along the tree line. The existing edge of gravel of William Street is here. And as Ernie said, it kind of jogs back into the other portion of the site. So it's
So
up
there's-
here, little angle, and then it exists back here.
So there's absolutely no use for William Street past the Diana intersection. Because they're gonna get rid of a portion of it. And all of a sudden, it's just gonna end at a, it's gonna narrow down until it gets to a point where they hit their property line. So I still think that what happens to the physical road is their responsibility. If they get the right-of-way vacated, it makes it cleaner. I'm not sure what overarching
doesn't-
purpose is served if they don't get it vacated.
Right, and I had indicated if it gets vacated, we'd be happy to put landscaping in there. If it does not get vacated, Ernie, we would agree to ask the township for the approval to remove the existing gravel surface and then just reseed it. So the gravel surface, the perception of it being a road at all, goes away.
I'm looking at it, it might require some signage as well.
Correct, we
Um,
agreed to signage or if a barrier is needed at this intersection.
Because I'd hate to see a truck coming out of the contractor's warehouse, making a right and thinking they could make another right.
Correct, we could certainly add signage, left turn only.
Maybe a berm and a sign.
Yeah, that's fine, those details are fine.
And I'm assuming there's no easements, utility easements, or actual easements on the road itself, Pave Street, Williams?
Correct. There are power lines there, so that would have to be researched and confirmed as part of the vacation process. What rights that those utility companies may have and need to retain. But anyway, we feel it's most appropriate in the best interest of our applicant and of the town to have that portion of William Street, which really becomes totally unusable and of no value to the municipality at all. I think my opinion is that should be vacated.
Yeah, okay, you're right.
So we would like to have that.
All right, so
were
we
hoping
can add that as a stipulation, the way that you just described a few minutes ago. But let's go back to order of operations. So first, fire and police approval, then you guys file for the road vacation application, because it wouldn't,
The applicant usually goes all at the same
Oh,
time.
usually does, but if you guys need to send in plans and then when the road vacation gets sent in, it would kind of just be a check mark off of this order of operations. Just what does the board want to do?
Sounds beneficial to talk to the fire and police department first prior to going to the council. So do it that way.
That's fine. We have no objection either way.
Mr.
Our
Brezzi,
intent
what do
is
you
to make
think?
everybody
No,
happy.
I agree with that.
Right. Procedurally, it doesn't matter to us. We got to satisfy everybody.
And then, Mr. Sullivan was just saying, you might still need to provide access to power companies if there are easements on there. So, you'll have to carefully think about how you're going to make sure that trucks aren't going down that street while still allowing access to utility vehicles. It's a thought.
Understood.
And JCP&L may be using that back way into Willow Point also. So you may have some headaches there you have to iron out with them. And JCPL, you're going to have to work with, which isn't the easiest, but you're going to have to work with them.
And
Yeah,
if you,
so we're hopeful that can all be worked out. If the street cannot be vacated, our position is that the application still proceeds.
I can understand that, and then
So
that
we-
makes sense.
So we didn't want the application having to rely on a street vacation, but our opinion, our team's
But in
opinion-
reality, it does rely on it. It's just that it doesn't have to rely on it here.
Correct.
It still has to be vacated, and that's up to you folks and the council and the fire department and the police department. Okay, makes sense. Any comments from the board? Any questions?
Well, for the public good, it would be generally a good thing if something was settled about William Street. And I think worst case scenario is you may have to have some kind of barrier or fence that the electric company can have access to, similar to, I don't know if you know, Bowman Road has something similar to that. Or if you can landscape it out very nicely and make it nice for the neighbors and everyone else, and it solves a really big problem. So, we hope that it works out in the favor. And I personally don't have a problem with recommending to the council that they vacate it.
Mr. Sullivan, let me tell you, any improvements on Herman Road or William Street or prior William Street in that area can only be an improvement. That's been a cluster screw up forever, how that thing got developed and not developed. It's been a nightmare. It had a lot of good purposes many years ago. It never happened. You approved something back there years ago to grow their plants up in the air rather than the soil. We approved that 2012, I think, something like that. So many things were planned back there, but the road never developed as was, and the roadways were neglected due to it. If this plan came through like it's planned and all this happens, and it came in front of the council, if I were still on it, if you go with everything that was said here, I would probably recommend it.
So if we're done with that portion of the.
We haven't even gotten to the building yet.
And now the application.
The application.
Now the
Right, maybe
application.
we can talk about the application just for a couple minutes. It's a little simpler than that discussion, but anyway, we wanted to have that and make sure there was full understanding of what was going on. So Anthony, just zoom out a touch from me and we can see the entire site plan. So we have Exhibit A2 now, which is the site plan that we submitted just with the, again, little additional information about William Street shown on the plan. Block 2202, Lot 3, an area of 2.2 acres in the HC zone. You can see what is proposed is a new single warehouse building with five tenant spaces, a floor area of 20,000 square feet, 19,000 warehouse, 1,000 square foot of office space. The existing building in the front portion of the site is about 6,000 square feet. That will remain. The existing parking for that building is in the front of the building over here and a couple spaces here. That will all be removed to allow the new driveway and new parking areas to be constructed. You see a new singular driveway proposed coming off of East Commodore, designed in accordance with county access and geometry requirements. We have a total of 42 parking spaces on site. The plan says 43, but it's actually 42. 39 are required by ordinance, so we meet the parking requirements of the ordinance. You can see for the warehouse building, each unit has 2 overhead doors and a singular man door to the office. So the similar arrangement for all 5 of those units. You see 2 smaller parking areas, one lying between the front building and the new building, and then one lying behind the new building. When we designed this layout, we thought about doing it 2 ways. One way was having this driveway come straight through and go right out to Diana. The second way, which is one we ended up going with, was putting these parking spaces back in here. Kind of serves as a traffic calming move so that any trucks or emergency vehicles that enter the site, they can still get out the back of the site, but they have to, weave their way through those 2 movements. They have to, frankly, they have to slow down, have to be careful. So we thought that was a better design instead of having it just go straight through. It also does allow for easier access to the refuse enclosures over here. So that's the design that we came up with.
And that's two-way traffic.
We have it shown as two-way traffic right now, but it does not have to remain as two-way traffic.
So that's my question to the board. If you take a look, it's now two-way traffic. Do we want to maintain two-way
our-
traffic or an entry and an exit?
Right, so the second part of the application was to discuss what we want to do with Diana Road. So we
That's
got
gotta be-
William Street out of the way.
That's got to be a big discussion.
And there were some questions about what the board and the town would prefer for Diana Road. And frankly, Mr. Flea and I spoke this morning, and we both kicked around a couple of things, and we agreed that, of course, we got to get some input from the board. I mean, certainly, we show it as a two-way access right now, but we're not intending to have any trucks enter from that direction. We're intending all trucks to enter from East Commonwealth Boulevard, so no
So that's
exception-
entry,
No
right?
exception at all if that is to be changed to one-way.
That would be,
signage.
you would have some kind of a sign to make sure that all trucks know that they can't access Diana Road?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Now, what about the houses on Diana? If you went one way out to Herman, what effect's that going to have on them?
Well, no, we're not changing Diana Road. We're only talking about one or two-way designation for our driveway that connects to Diana.
So could we have a left turn only?
Correct,
So it would
Correct.
be signage,
correct.
a left turn only so that they go out to Herman.
Left turn
And,
only.
and Herman is all contractors and warehouses anyway, so
Correct.
it's the
Herman is-
ideal exit point.
Correct.
So we'd
Well, I
require
think
that
mo-
signage.
Most of the traffic here is going to be small, single-unit trucks, FedEx type, size box trucks. So most of the traffic is going to access the warehouse, turn around, and go back out to East Commonwealth.
Well, that's the question.
But you can't limit bigger vehicles.
Ag-
Unless you're
agreed.
going to limit them.
Agreed, that's, well, our client, who is the applicant, is the concrete guy. He right now is planning to take 2 of these units. So he does have, he says he has 2 to 3 deliveries monthly that are made by tractor trailer.
Ah.
So those tractor trailers, right now, they enter the site in the existing William Street. They drive here and they go out here. He said they don't turn around, they don't do K-turns, they don't do 5-pointer. He said they make their drop, they go out, William to Diana and back to Herman Road.
So then we really can't, we need to maintain it as two-way.
Well, no, it can only one way, so a tractor trailer enters the site here, makes his drop, and goes
Goes out.
back out this way and then goes back up to Herman.
Right.
We don't need
All
this
right.
for ingress.
Okay,
That's only for egress back out to Herman.
okay.
Yeah, I think the comment, I think what Graham was trying to say was for the smaller cars, they would be able to exit on.
Back out to East Commonwealth
Commonwealth.
directly. They don't need to go through here and go up to Herman. And that is, 97, 90, 99, he told us today, it's only really 2 times a month he gets delivery of rebar and maybe some concrete products that come out of a
So,
flatbed
so
truck.
just to be clear, we're turning this into a one-way.
The exit from the parking area that goes onto Diana, that's going to be exit only.
Excellent.
No ingress permitted.
And
to
left
that
turn.
driveway.
Left
Left
turn.
turn only. Correct.
Exit only, left turn only.
Yes.
Now, the second part of that discussion, again, that Mr. Klee and I had this morning, some of it we've already weaved into the William Street, is what, if anything, needs to be done to Diana. Of course, we're asking for a waiver of curb and sidewalk from the existing streets. The board gets to make an opinion on that. We talked about realigning this intersection a little bit based upon the changes we're making and maintaining public safety and clarity of what's going on in that intersection. So then the question becomes, do we need to improve Diana Road at all along the frontage of the site? It's an existing 15-foot wide or so gravel road. It's a 40-foot right-of-way. We're proposing, the exit driveway with curb out to its, PC and PT where it meets the road.
And there's no pedestrian traffic there, is there?
Not to my knowledge, correct. There are a couple of homes in the back here, but very limited, if any, pedestrian.
Part of the traffic you back there is probably not, once again, they'll be coming in and out of the exit they shouldn't at Willow Point. That's what's going on there. And I have a concern about the people in Diana. They were there before a lot of the stuff started. But I think any improvement you can make to make their life better would be well received.
Right, so what Mr. Klee and I touched on, and I guess I'll just offer it, was was improving this portion of Diana along our frontage to 24-foot wide gravel road.
And that would improve the things for the residents there and for the vehicles exiting,
Correct.
really.
So without,
Mr. Clay, you agree?
The 24-foot road would qualify as a semi-improved. That's a defined road within the township, so yeah.
right, so we would
Got that?
agree to provide that.
Semi-improvement of Diana.
And I agree with
24
Mr.
feet.
Clee, that is a
24
term,
foot.
that is a term that is defined in the
But
Jackson.
just let's just discuss that, that stipulation one more time.
We would improve Diana Road along our street frontage to the standard of a semi-improved roadway, which is defined in the local ordinances. So it talks about the width, and it gives some specifications for the thickness of road bed that
Gotcha.
needs to be provided. So we would agree with that ordinance requirement.
I'm sure the police and the fire department would appreciate that as well.
It would certainly be an upgrade over what's there today.
And that leads back to my comment before regarding the police letter. They saw the application showing 16-foot or 15-foot, existing roadway not to be changed. I think when we have those conversations with them, we'll be able to make them happy and satisfy their comments.
So now to the blood and guts part of the application. There are some variances that are requested in connection with the application. Several of them are existing nonconformances based upon the configuration and the existing development of the property. And those qualify as C1 hardship variances because they're conditions that we cannot rectify or improve. They are lot width, lot frontage on East Commodore, lot frontage on Diana, side yard setback of the existing building, and the existing front setback to, and at one point that Mr. Peters made, just for clarity, his report talked about the existing front setback to William Street, but that does not apply because that portion of William Street where the existing building was vacated, so that's not a front yard there. So that particular nonconformance does not apply. The other ones do, so we ask for the relief for those under the C1 criteria. There are also a handful of C2 variances that are requested for the application. And these are new variances that are being created by the application. First one is front setback along East Commodore. The front setback along East Commodore would now reduce to 37.1 feet for the existing building. That is because we are dedicating 25 feet of right-of-way to the county in accordance with their master plan. You can kind of see the line is right there.
Yeah.
So again, that deals with the existing building, but that meets the C2 criteria.
But that's benefiting, the parking is no longer going to be in front of that building,
Correct.
Correct.
which is unsightly right now and not a particularly good use of the property. So you may want to look at some type of berm or something attractive for that portion that is fronting on East Commodore.
Well, again, we are removing that existing parking area. We do have just shade trees proposed in there right now, but we can certainly add a little bit of landscaping in the front of the building.
That'd probably be nice.
to supplement
It's not the
that
most
as well.
attractive stretch
Agreed.
of road. So maybe like good neighbors, when one neighbor makes it look nicer, maybe the next neighbor might consider upgrading.
And I agree entirely. Hopefully you acknowledge that this application is trying to do its part to make a significant improvement here. The next C2 variance, again, back to one of our favorite topics, relates to the front yard setback to William Street. What we have proposed right now is 46.7 feet from the existing William Street right-of-way to the proposed building, where 60 feet is required if it is a front yard. If William Street gets
It's a side.
vacated, that goes away, it becomes a side yard, complies by more than 25 feet in excess. However, if William Street does not get vacated, we would technically need that front yard setback variance. And again, I would offer that meets C2.
So that means we would need to approve that variance just in case.
Just correct.
But the chances are hopefully slim to none.
Hopefully, everybody's on the same page and agrees that the idea to vacate William Street is genius.
And then it won't
and
need it, then it
goes
won't be a
forward.
variance.
Correct. So supporting that street vacation eliminates variances. We have a side yard setback, a little itty bitty piece of this one corner of the building. Certainly, I consider that de minimis request. We have 21.7 feet proposed, where 25 feet is required. It's a very, very small portion of the building. You can see that by looking at the site plan. We have parking area.
Is that dotted line? The
Anthony,
dashed line
maybe just zoom in on that corner for me.
on that
quick.
first building, or is it dashed line?
Second building.
It's the proposed building.
Right.
So it's right in this corner. You can see this long dash line.
dash
That's the
line,
required
yeah.
setback of 25.
I think that's not a problem.
That itty bitty corner encroaches.
Okay.
We have parking area setback relief requested from, again, William Street, and also Diana. Again, same story at William Street. If the right-of-way gets vacated, that goes away. Anthony, maybe to the back end of the site again for me.
And you do show landscaping at that portion
Along-
in front of those parking spaces.
Along Diana, we have this parking area about 7.2 feet from the right-of-way line there, where 10 feet is required by ordinance. So we have a very small sliver of this parking area that is less than 10 feet. So we are requesting that relief based upon the unique geometry of this particular
All right.
property.
So just, we're throwing a lot of C2s out there, but I still need the balancing test comported with. So if we want to get into the, maybe we want to identify them all first, then move into the negative and
Right,
the positive, negative criteria. Then
Right.
we do something for the record.
right, agreed. And then we have a setback for the sign at the front of the site, which is proposed 5 feet, again, from the future right-of-way. It will actually be 30 feet from the curb line. I believe that the sign it's appropriate to put the sign in that location to at least keep it somewhat visible to the motoring public. If we set it back any further, it's not going to have any visibility at
I'm
all.
sorry, Mr. McFarland, could you show me again where on there? Sorry.
The sign, Anthony, up front, please. I know
And
keep
we
bouncing-
want that for the police and the fire department.
We keep bouncing all over. Yes, yeah, there you go. So we have our sign proposed right here. It's 5 feet. This is the future, the right-of-way line that we're going to dedicate to create the half width that the county wants. So you can see it's being pushed back a long way from the existing edge of pavement actually is here. So we have it proposed 5 feet from the future right-of-way line, which, does not meet ordinance requirement. But in my opinion, setting it back any further makes it just even less visible and hard for anybody to see at all. So in this case, I believe that is warranted for public safety. We were also requesting, which we did not ask for, one sign for each tenant to occupy the building, both the existing building and the new building. We did not include that on the application, but again, as a matter of public safety, I think it's appropriate to have one sign for each tenant. Your ordinance only says you can have one sign per building
And
facade.
that'll be on the building itself,
Could
correct?
it be
building
just
mounted-
building 1, building
building-
2, building 3, building 4?
Building-mounted, well, for the tenants, building-mounted signage that would comply with ordinance requirements. The last variance that we have is buffering to a residential use that is associated, again, with William Street. Anthony, go to the aerial for me real quick. So we talked about, if you can just pull it up for me a little bit, please. We talked about the adjoining project, Willow Point, which you can see part of it here, multifamily residential project. Again, the PIQ is in pink, William Street right there. You can see that this Willow Point project has about 80 feet of buffering behind their units to the right-of-way of William Street. We have 200 feet plus or minus from this back unit to our proposed building. The local ordinance would require buffering in there. Our stipulation was that if we can get William Street vacated, we'll make every opportunity to put additional landscaping in there to provide the buffering that we can. But Again, given the size and the shape, mostly the shape of this property, it's really makes it very difficult to put any additional landscaping in there. So we've identified whatever the number is, 6 or 7 variances that are requested in support of the application. A couple of them we touched on as being de minimis. The others, I think, all have justification under the C2 criteria or the benefit of granting the variances to allow this project to proceed. Project which is supporting the master plan and goals and objectives of commercial development, economic development, creating some job opportunities are all positive benefits. I think given that this size does have a unique shape and configuration, and its lot width is much less than that required by local ordinance, the variances that we are requesting can be granted without substantial detriment, and they satisfy the test for the grant of each of those. So that's my testimony related to the variance, and we of course did review the letters from. We did review the letters from both professionals, and we don't take any exception to satisfying their technical comments. And to be honest, I think with the testimony we've probably touched on everything that was in their letters, unless there's a couple other items that they still have questions about.
Mr. Peters, anything you still have questions on there?
Yes. Mr. McFarland, thank you for your testimony. The variance for the buffer, that was for 244-193?
Correct.
Okay. Don't you have buffer requirements to the west, lots 2 and 4, and actually across Diana Street to those residential units as well?
No, because they are not residentially zoned. The buffer language is very clear that it only applies to properties that are zoned residential use. We happen to have residential uses in commercial zones, and the ordinance does not require buffers for those properties.
But you'd be happy to put them there.
Well, I would be happy
For the benefit of
we'd be
the-
happy to provide some additional landscaping if the board feels warranted, but again, the ordinance does not require buffering for residential use, only where commercials abut residentially zoned property.
So I guess what I'd say is we have the corner of the building that requires a side yard setback where 25 feet is required and 21.7 is proposed. Doesn't appear there's any landscaping there. I think to put a
Correct.
35-foot building in an area where you need a variance next to a residential unit, I think the least the applicant could do is put some landscaping in that area or make the building smaller.
Correct, and just for understanding, we do have a vinyl fence, a privacy fence proposed along that property line as well, but we'll be happy to add some landscaping there.
Thank you.
Good, very good. Mr. Clee?
Thank you. Really, I didn't have much comments on the site plan itself. Most of
Mr. Clee? Microphone, please. They can't hear you at home.
Okay, I'm sorry. Most of my, I didn't really have that many concerns about the site design. Most of the engineering comments I had was for William Street and Diana, and I think we pretty much beaten that one to death.
Beat that to
I
death.
think
Yeah.
But just a question, that side yard setback, the 21.7, there's not 3.3 feet that we can make it comply?
I don't think there really is. I mean, we're pretty tight with the design the way it is. I think that request is so de minimis that I don't think there's any impact for that 21.7 feet.
I'll leave it to the board. It seems like 3.3 feet, it would be easy to make up and comply. That's all.
But it seems that they have that turning radius you still need for those, even those smaller trucks to get into the parking for the facility. So I don't know if you can even move it or make it smaller. 3 feet smaller. Thoughts? Gentlemen, lady? Could you
I
make
don't want to
it?
argue with anybody up there, but when Doug says 3 feet, in my mind, he's found the 3 feet someplace. So, come on.
I think you can rotate the building a little bit, bring the northerly end closer to the property line, which lets you drop down to 21.7 to 25. I just think there's some room.
We're making a lot of considerations here, so you've got to do your share on considerations.
How about 22 and a half?
Better than nothing.
Thank you.
I do have a question.
22 and a half.
Mr. Brezzi.
On the C1 variances, all pre-existing, I understand that. But with all the C2s, can we make sure that, I mean, if the road doesn't get vacated, that changes a lot. I think if they don't have to come back in front of us, they have to concur, or if Doug Clee can come back in front of us and say they've arranged everything to work around the lack of vacated road. It's got to be addressed some ways if the road doesn't get vacated. Because there's a lot there to consider. And I don't mean to make you come back, but, you know, like I say, the C1s are all pre-existing, no argument.
We understand our concerns, so we would obviously agree, number one, to still comply with fire and police, and to make sure that, that your professionals are happy with whatever we're
Right.
proposing, to make them happy.
And Doug, many times you come back to us when it was your call, but you still come back to review it with us. I would expect the same. Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll rely on Mr. Clee if, heaven forbid, that does not get passed. And it looks so intelligent.
And it's our intent, again, to make up, number one, to make it a nice project, and number two, to comply both with fire safety and the board's conditions.
That satisfy you, Mr. Brezzi?
Yes.
Okay, good. Mr. Sullivan has something.
Speaking of fire district, have you heard from the fire district? Have you gotten a letter?
We did get a review letter, and the letter just had a couple of comments that were not significant. I have it. We got a review letter from them March 3rd of 2026 that talked about Knox box installation, landscaping, making sure there's no mulch in close proximity to the bed. We do have a fire hydrant on site. They wanted us to adjust that. Emergency disconnects and whatnot for the EV charging stations, roof signage, and display light for the fire department connections.
Was there any issues with circulation?
They did not offer any comments on circulation. So my understanding was that they had no objection.
Okay.
Anyone else from the board with questions?
Yes, I have one. I think you said that your improvement on Diana, going from 15 to 24 feet, would be over the southern frontage, Diana's frontage.
Our frontage of Diana Road, correct.
So that means that when Diana goes beyond your frontage, it's back down to 15 feet.
Whatever the current condition is.
It's a long way for your trucks to travel on that road before it hits Herman.
Well, that is not along our site frontage. That is an existing road within a municipal right-of-way.
A comment,
and,
that's all.
not the applicant's obligation to improve anything off-site.
Comment.
We get some testimony on the operations.
Sure. We had submitted a statement of operation, which was, frankly, pretty generic for this type of use. Just talked about the proposed building and the existing building, meeting the criteria in the local ordinance for the term contractor's warehouse, office, showroom, and garage. Again, the existing building is about 6,100 square feet. The proposed building is about 20,000 square feet, or is 20,000. Deliveries will predominantly made by single unit trucks, box trucks, FedEx type trucks. There will be a need for tractor trailers to access the site periodically, as, again, the owner of the site, who is planning to take, I believe, 2 of the spaces, does have a need for tractor trailers to enter the site periodically. He told us currently that only happens 2 or 3 times a month. Of course, one of the conditions we spoke about was restricting the access to Diana Road to egress only, eliminating the ingress. We said the normal hours of operation would be 7 to 7 Monday through Saturday, and that really summarizes the statement of operations.
And what about the showroom? Will there be any retail sent from there?
Well, there's no separate retail, but again, whatever is permitted by ordinance. So whatever that definition of showroom is defined by local ordinance, that would be possible.
You said the owner is taking 2 of the locations. And what is happening with his building in the front?
He's
then?
currently in the front portion of the existing building. So he's going to retain ownership of the property. He'll lease that to somebody else, and he's going to move into I believe 2 of the spaces. And all of the material that he had, he's currently has been using the site for a lot of outdoor storage. That, of course, is all going to be.
So
be gone.
we'll stipulate no outside storage.
Correct. There is none proposed for this application.
And none will exist.
Correct.
It won't creep out there.
No, it's not permitted.
So we really won't know what's going in the front portion and what use we can't assume.
Well, right now it's set up for 2 separate spaces. That, of course, could change to 1 space, 4 spaces. I mean, that's not regulated by this board. Market conditions and economy determines what type of business and who's going to be in there.
And there are only 4 parking places for that.
No, there are parking spaces between the 2 buildings.
Yes, but
So the front building, and we did tabulate it on our
Okay.
plan. The front building, frankly, requires 16 parking spaces for that 6,000
But that's
square
that's
feet.
in the rear now.
Well, no, the front building requires 16, and we actually have, 17 plus 3, we have 20 that are in the front portion of the site. The remainder are in the back of the site and along the new warehouse building. Again, we have 42 spaces proposed, where 39 are required by ordinance, and we have them, distributed throughout the site, so I think it's an appropriate.
Does he
size.
have tractor trailers coming in now?
He said only about 2 or 3 times a month, because he only gets rebar and one other material that comes via tractor trailer. Everything else for his business comes in small box or stake body trucks.
So we would certainly not want to see 5 buildings worth of semi-tractor trailers.
Correct. We don't have any loading docks, and this is not set up for significant tractor trailer traffic.
Are there going to be any improvements made to the existing office space now?
We didn't talk about that. I don't know what plans he has for the interior of that building.
And we don't have any architectural plans for the warehouses, do we?
We did
Yes,
submit architectural
we did.
preliminary architectural plans for
Oh.
the warehouse building.
Not the front though, right? I don't see any renderings.
Existing building? No, we no. I do believe though, it was, I think since his ownership, I think he did stucco the front of that building.
It's not great, but it's not bad. It's a building.
I didn't say it was great, but I said I believe he did improve and clean it up when he acquired.
And is this the same statement of operations with or without this approved project? Is this basically how they're operating at this time?
Yes. Yes, except for the fact that, if you go back to the aerial, you could see all the outdoor storage of material. All that is, I spoke with them specifically.
Will be
I said,
inside.
it's
That'll
all
be
gonna
nice.
Inside.
And also stipulating no overnight parking.
Yes.
In the architecturals, I don't see any bathrooms, restrooms. Are there going to be plumbing there? Are they going to be?
Yes, there will be plumbing in the building. We have water and sewer going to the building. There will be bathrooms for each of the units.
And I believe the plan showed 1 small office in each unit.
One office.
Yes,
Yeah.
1 office, and there will be a bathroom for each unit.
Yeah, the
Sprinklers.
architecturals show it.
Yeah.
One more time, Mr. President.
Not trying to lean too far here. However, we talked about Diana Road and a couple of people on it, and in front of your place is going to be 24 feet. I understand that. Then it goes down to 10. But the rest of that foot or 15, whatever it is, that's mainly because of your trucks going out there, it's going to be used a lot. Is there any contribution or anything you can do to take the rest of the roadway and widen it to that 24 feet? I mean, I realize you're not obligated to do that, but I think to make it work smoother and respect to Diana Road, I think, and those people, it's important that you do that. Even if it's just from where you come out and make your left that way.
It's about 375 feet.
I mean, you're increasing the traffic.
I mean,
You're
come on.
increasing the traffic.
It's your traffic, you're going to be handling that. And I couldn't imagine one of your trucks sinking in a hole out there.
Again, if you're going to insist that it's a condition, you're insisting, again, we think we're improving a lot of the area. The roadway is currently traveled. We're doing our part.
But you're increasing the traffic
And it'd be heavy
substantially
traffic, yes.
there with
I
trucks.
think it'd be the right thing to do. I know it's expense for the applicant, but sometimes it goes along with the application. I would like to see that as a stipulation.
I mean, we're considering quite a number of variances. So it's a trade. Our variances, you widen the roadway.
We get back our 23.5 foot.
So
I leave it to the.
I know. It's all part of the process. But let's make it as safe and convenient as we can.
Think of it this way, it's beneficial for your client because it will make the road safer for his vehicles.
Well, I would offer that if the applicant is to undertake that additional road improvement, that they get credit for that cost taken away from their contribution to the pedestrian safety fund. Because there would be
I don't know,
additional-
are we allowed
I
to
don't
do
know if we have
that?
the
I don't
authority to
know
do
that
that.
we're allowed to do that.
Because there would be the applicant is being asked to make additional improvements, which are not along his property frontage, which in my opinion meet the definition of off-site improvement. Not really sure the board has the authority to require off-site improvement.
I'm not sure we
Oh,
do.
no.
To the extent you can.
Mr. Brezzi knows.
We're not authorized, or we can't order you to do that, and yet you like approval, so there's a trade-off here. But Doug, do we have the right to trade off? I don't think we have that right. Huh? No, we don't have the
No,
right.
because that's township ordinance. That's not us. We can just require you to do it.
So the pedestrian safety fund is a creature of ordinance. So that's a calculation. They would have to request a waiver from the township council to be exempt from that ordinance.
I think that was
So-
fail.
Don't think that it's sale.
One other item that just came up, just want to make sure. I don't know if there are trees or not that are blocking that roadway to make it a full 24 foot.
Possibly, and as we're talking about this, another item popped into my head that, we're now also going to limit the movement from the site onto Diana Road as exiting movements only. So our traffic, in theory, is only going to be using half the road, not the full road. So asking the applicant to fully improve the road to 24 feet when he's going to be restricted from using, one half of the road, in my opinion, is a little bit of a stretch. So maybe there's a middle ground somewhere.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
Strongly suggest you don't get into negotiations with the applicant, okay? They're required by ordinance to do frontage improvements, period. If there's something that you think is over the top, that's fine. I strongly caution you about getting into negotiations
Okay,
with an
Thank you.
applicant about
Agreed.
site
Yeah.
improvement.
thank you. I think the idea is a good idea, Mr. Parks and Mr. Brezzi. If it can be done, could you take a look at it and consider it,
Yes,
if there's a possibility?
yes.
I'll drive out there and take a look. God willing, I'll be around to see how it looks. But, we're giving you a number of considerations, and we're trying to make it safe.
Thank you.
Any other testimony?
We have traffic, but I don't know necessarily that we need it.
It's always needed, and I don't want to waste his time. He came all the way
Oh,
here.
quickly, could we talk about the dumpster? Apparently, there's no screenage,
Correct.
screen refuse? Are you doing that?
Correct. We do not have any screening proposed around the dumpsters, given their locations and that they're really, pretty far back on a site and out of the public view. We did not propose any screening for the dumpsters, so we're asking for that waiver on landscape screening around the dumpsters for this particular site. I don't think we meet the, full intent, full intent of the ordinance, but I could be misspeaking. I've been wrong before. If I could find the landscape plan, that'd be first. Oh, so I take that back. We do have some proposed,
Yeah.
but I think, Ernie, I think you pointed out that maybe we don't fully comply with.
Yeah, I see
Ordinance
tree bushes on page,
I do too.
page,
It's on sheet 8, the landscaping plan.
landscaping plan, right, lot 3, landscaping plan. There are bushes around the back end.
So we have more than I thought we had.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that we don't need that relief.
And then the only other question I have is on lighting.
Yes, I think we had a very small comment about adjusting the lighting slightly. We'll agree to comply with all ordinances.
On the lighting, could you possibly work with the police department on that? They may encourage some lighting up at the other way, where William Street used to continue, and the back entrance to Willow Point. They may like some lighting in that area, but that'd be up to them.
Yeah,
I mean, not extra lighting,
yeah, we
just point
could-
it that direction and so
Shielded
forth.
we could add another light along Diana Road if that's what
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
thinking.
they may want that. I'm not in
We
the
have no-
police department.
We have
but
no objection to adding
With what,
adding lighting on Diana Road, which frankly we keep on our property so it doesn't have to become part of the lease.
right,
lighting. We could
but I
just
think
add-
if you work with them, the angle of brightness, they may want that.
we take no exception to that request.
Board have any more questions for Mr. Graham? All right, we'll go on to traffic and then we'll open to the public.
We take a 10-minute break,
All right.
5-minute, whatever you want to do.
We're having a request for a 10-minute break, please. Do you want to go into?
I'd like to make a motion that we break for 10 minutes, Sullivan.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. 10 minutes means 10 minutes.
Motion that we go back into session, Sullivan.
Second, DiMarzo.
All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome back.
If we can now call our all-star witness, Mr. Scott Kennel. We can have him sworn in and accepted as an expert.
We got a ringer. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right, please state your name, spell your last for the record.
Scott Kennel, Kennel, with McDonough and Ray Associates, located at 1431 Lakewood Road, Manasquan.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Can you accept Mr. Kennel?
We certainly do.
Thank you.
Scott, you've heard all the testimony and go for it.
I'll be brief, but our office prepared a traffic study dated March 9th, 2026. And as part of that traffic study, we conducted traffic counts at the Phantom intersection of William Street and East Commodore in February of this year. And we conducted the counts during the morning from 7 to 10 a.m. and 3 to 6 p.m. And basically the morning peak hour is 8:15 and 9:15 with approximately 430 vehicles two-way in that section of East Commodore. In the afternoon, the peak hours from 3:30 to 4:30 with approximately 530 vehicles two-way on East Commodore. Given the type of use that's proposed here, we consulted the Institute of Transportation Engineers trip generation manual and determined that during the morning peak hour, the new building, approximately 20,000 square feet, would generate approximately 17 trips. That's two-way in and out. And then in the afternoon, 24 trips. We assigned those trips to East Commodore, approximately 60% to the east and 40% to the west. Our analysis didn't consider any traffic going out to Diana, just to perform a worst-case conservative analysis. Consistent with the Ocean County Planning Board, we looked at a 10-year projection utilizing the traffic growth rates published by the New Jersey Department of Transportation. And in looking at the 2036 traffic volumes for the site access to East Commodore, we determined that the exiting movements out onto East Commodore would operate at level service B, well below the design threshold of level service C to D, and then the eastbound left turn movements from East Commodore to the site would operate at level service A, meaning that the delays would be less than 10 seconds per vehicle making that maneuver. Graham provided detailed testimony on the site plan. The site plan has been designed to accommodate large wheelbase vehicles, and we have parking that meets and exceeds the ordinance requirements. And I'm in favor of what the board has recommended. I think it's a good recommendation where the access out to Diana would be exit only with left turn movements towards Herman. And that concludes my testimony.
Anyone have any questions? Nicely done.
Thank you.
That's all of our direct testimony. Unless the board has any questions.
No,
pass it
we'll open it up now to public.
I'd like to make a motion that we open to the public cross-examination of the witnesses on this application. Sullivan?
Second, DiMarzo.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone who would like to ask any questions of our experts, come on up. Somebody will provide you with a microphone.
That's one right there.
Oh,
There
good.
we go.
Gotta turn
Is it
on.
working? Okay.
It is. Thank you.
Please raise your right. Oh, hang on one sec. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, please state your name and spell your last for the record. Oh, you just gotta,
Robert Lewis. I live on East Commodore Boulevard. On the
Sir, we have people listening at home, so, and we have a record, so you have to speak into the microphone.
Okay.
Thank you, we appreciate
oh,
it.
I'm sorry about that.
Thank you.
Okay, I live on the west
West
side
side.
of the property,
Mhm.
and we've been living there for about 40 years. Neighbor, this property's gone through many owners and whatnot, and as far as the current situation, I'm concerned about the buffer zones on the residential side. Currently, they're grinding granite. They open up their back doors and you can hear grinding all day long. They're moving granite, big sheets of granite. They have them stacked up within reach of my property line right on the fence.
So just to be clear, this portion is cross-examination questions of the experts' witnesses. Next part will be a public comment period that you can make any comments you want. So if
Go
you have any
to
questions
questions.
for,
Okay, the questions are, I wanted to know what type of buffer is going to be provided by the parking area that's behind the building. And because when the cars pull in there, that'll shine right towards my house.
Anthony, if you could put the site plan up, A2, please. So what we do have proposed,
I can see how close it is to my property line. It's practically touching my
right,
property
we do
line.
have a parking area here, it's the existing building, parking area here. We do have a 6-foot-high fence proposed along this property line. So that's at least going to stop any impact of headlight glare. Yeah, there's a solid vinyl fence proposed. So that's certainly better than what's there today.
No trees or anything, no buffer at all?
We
Just
don't,
right up to the fence, there's going to be
we don't have any buffering proposed there.
Let's move on to the next question.
So 6-foot vinyl fence,
Correct.
just so you know.
Okay,
That's something better than you have now.
No, I have my fence that's 6 foot high there now that I provided,
So-
along with trees to buffer.
So then
the
now you'll
property.
have 2 6-foot fences, yours and theirs.
That's correct.
That's,
But I also have the parking that's going to be right there by the which is really close to my house.
And I think right now, there is quite a bit of outdoor storage that occurs on the property behind the existing building and, in this portion of the site. That's all going to be eliminated as part of this application gets approved.
Are they going to do anything with the buffer behind there? Because it looks terrible. I mean, I had to put up buffering on my side just so I don't have to look at their junk that they have back there. The whole property line the whole property is full of junk.
All that's being removed.
Right, all that's going to be removed as part of this application.
there will be no outside storage.
Correct.
At all. And the back of this 20,000 square foot building, is there a reason they came up with 20,000 square feet? They couldn't do that a little smaller? He's not even going to be using it for his own personal business. He's just going to rent these spaces out, I understand. So why does it have to be 20,000? Couldn't he shrink the size of the building down and give more buffers to the area and would alleviate a lot of the problems in that whole, and the whole area does need to be improved, but it can be improved with a less than a 20,000 square foot building. I mean, they just pulled 20,000 square feet out of whatever could maximum fit into that property. I would like to see a smaller building, and I would like to see more buffers on the west side between the residents that are there. Right now, it doesn't look like they have any trees or anything planned for behind the buildings. And there's lighting. We have the lights on the big buildings light up, and they light. It's like there's no lighting plan an existing lighting plan. They just put up lights over there. I mean, I'm talking big
There is a
lights. They
lighting
light up the
plan.
whole area. That's how this guy rolls. That's what I would like to see.
On his
Is
side,
more
is it?
buffers, a decent lighting plan, a smaller building. Is that too much?
I think there is a lighting plan.
Yes, there's a lighting plan in the package that complies with ordinance requirements.
And Ms. DiMarzo did ask that they be shielded.
Correct.
The lights will be shielded.
Is there going to be garage doors on the back of this building?
No, the overhead doors are only on the front portion here.
And is there any?
So that will limit any activity towards your property.
So it's just going to be man doors in the back?
No doors in the back at all.
No doors in the back
No
at
doors in
all?
the back at all. So there should not be any activity on that back portion of the site where I'm pointing to on the site plan now. And again, any of those outdoor storage and outdoor activities that have been occurring would be eliminated by this application.
Do they have any idea about these people that are going to be renting it? Because
No, the tenants haven't been identified yet.
Because they get these tenants in there, and the tenants, this owner is an absentee owner at that property. I've never met him. I've gone over
several times to try to meet him. He's never there. And so I don't see how he's going to be able to manage the property when he's renting it out to various other people and he's not there to tell them that it's 7 to 7 or you don't work on Sundays, which they do work on Sundays over there as well. But there's nobody, it's absentee owner.
Well, again, right now, they're not working under an approved site plan. If this site plan, again, is approved, it's going to be subject to all the representations and the conditions of the approval.
And I believe the operations are Monday through Saturday,
Correct.
not Sunday.
Correct.
They take deliveries on Sunday, and they work very busy on Sunday as well. I'm not sure what they're doing, but it's equipment running back and forth. And I don't want to call, and they said they'd call and complain about noise violations. I get tired of calling. I called about, they used to come earlier than 7 to start working very early, and I would call, and then they would start just before 7 o'clock, about 6:45. But they'd be idling out there with big rigs for hours waiting. They come in from other states with granite and whatnot, and they just sit there and they park and they just idle for a long time, for half the night.
Just so we're clear, that
This is
Brandon
the,
is the tenant, is one of the tenants. We'll make sure that we pass the message on.
Granite is one of the tenants, it's not the owner,
Granite is the tenant.
and the owner is the concrete corporation?
Correct.
Good to know.
so this is one question portion. You can come back later and say more if you want to,
Wait,
okay?
just to be clear,
I have a question, Graham. Where you're putting a 6-foot fence near his property, is there current trees or anything there that you could leave while you put it up, or add a couple of trees to help break it up a little bit?
We do have a little bit of landscaping proposed at the end of that parking area. And again, at Mr. Peters' suggestion, we're adding some additional landscaping at the corner of the proposed building. If there is an opportunity to add,
Not enough to have enough room, but, you know,
add some landscaping, we could do it, but we don't have a lot of space in there.
well, anything would be a help.
I'm sure we can add a little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
and just to be clear, the statement of operations is going to restrict the site from Monday to Saturday per the applicant's stipulation.
The hours.
Yeah. So it'll be
yeah.
Monday to Saturday with Sunday
Quiet.
quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
it's in the
And this is the question portion for the professionals.
Right, please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, please state your name, spell your last for the record.
Adam Heidi, Haidi. I'm
Address?
on the Environmental Commission, but
Yep.
I'm just here as a resident.
There you go.
Into the microphone, please, sir. Thank you.
Does this sound okay, Ms. Campbell?
That's wonderful. Thank
Sweet.
you.
Just a couple questions, not too long. Relative to the environment, do you have any designs for the stormwater management?
Yes, of course.
I see it's going, the runoff's going to a catch basin, I believe. Do you have any diagrams or anything? Could you have Anthony show any visual of that?
We do. We submitted a full set of plans and reports to the planning board in support of the application.
And they were posted on the website.
Okay, and were those plans would be subject to county approval, right?
Correct.
Correct, and did you apply for county approval?
We did.
Have you received that approval?
We have gotten conditional approval from Ocean County Planning Board.
A conditional approval?
Conditional approval with some conditions to satisfy, correct.
And would you be able to elaborate on those conditions from
Sure.
the county? I didn't read it, I don't have it.
We have minutes from the county dated April 15th of 2026 where they outlined 7, 8, 9 items that are to be
What did they need
addressed.
to remediate?
I'm sorry?
Did they ask you to remediate anything?
Remediate? No.
Or what did they ask you to address?
Provide the required right-of-way, provide easements for site triangles. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. Add a couple dimensions to the plans, things of that nature. Traffic and drainage fees have to be paid in accordance with county requirements. So those are generally the conditions of the approval.
Was there anything regarding sedimentation? maybe sedimentation control?
From Ocean County? No,
Correct.
it's not their jurisdiction.
Correct. Okay. Did they touch upon your methods to control sedimentation? I think you mentioned there was a couple of ways.
That is not the jurisdiction of Ocean County, so that would be no.
Wouldn't that fall under the soil, Ocean County
That
Soil
would fall under the
Conservation?
Ocean County Soil Conservation District, which is a separate entity from Ocean County.
You're correct, which you would also need their approval,
We do.
a certified plan, correct?
Yes, we do.
Has the County Soil Conservation District provided you a certified plan yet?
Not yet, no. We have made application. We have gotten some technical comments.
Understood.
If we're successful in getting approval here tonight, that would be one of the outside agency approvals that we're required to satisfy for the application.
Would you be comfortable disclosing what the county soil districts said?
I don't have that letter with me tonight, but I know they had a series of technical comments that we're going to have to address.
Okay, off the top of your head, was it regarding the sedimentation control?
That's typically one of their comments, and that is an important part of the plan that eventually gets certified by the Ocean County Soil Conservation District. So yes, that is a requirement that needs to be satisfied in accordance with state standards.
And is that prior to receiving final approval, or can you receive final approval under the condition of that?
Adam, outside agency approval. So municipal land use law requires any of the outside agencies can be completed during resolution compliance prior to the zoning permit. So they can't get a zoning permit unless all of the outside agency approvals occur. The board can't, number one, the board makes it conditional that they have to get application approval.
Right.
So, but that's already built into the resolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so if you guys say yes, and the county says no, then.
Then,
Good
yeah,
enough.
what happens is they have to come back.
That's right.
And they,
Understood.
yeah.
Just wanted to
Yeah.
be sure.
State trumps Jackson.
And one of the reasons I've learned over the years, when the outside agencies don't get approvals on the preliminaries, they want to see what the final project is before they give an approval. If they gave an approval on a preliminary like, part of it, then they have to go back and relook at it. They'd rather see the whole, complex, what we approved, then they'll give their yes and no. If they give a no, they can't do it.
What about the sewage authority? Did you get an approval from the sewage authority?
Not yet. We have an application that we submitted to the MUA for the water and the sewer connections. And again, similar circumstance. We have a couple of comments to address with them, but we are required to obtain a final approval from the MUA for the water and sewer service.
Awesome. Okay. And if you could just elaborate on, because I'm not an expert in this, just the stone tracking pad, the inlet protection device, and the stabilization of the disturbed areas. That's
Well, again,
on-
these are not items that I testified to tonight, which was supposed to be the subject of this cross-examination, but trying to
You're
be
fine.
helpful that I am. What the Ocean County Soil Conservation District and the state Soil Erosion Sediment Control Manual requires is a stone tracking pad at the entrance to the site where the construction vehicles will enter and exit the site. It also requires sedimentation protection for inlets that collect stormwater runoff during the construction period to reduce and retard sedimentation from occurring on the project.
Okay, last question. Do you have any, have you received any of the county or municipal approvals that are needed for this final site plan approval?
Not yet, we have not.
You haven't received any of them?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No one else. Seeing no one else come forward, I move to close the public cross-examination part of this application. Sullivan?
Second, DeMarzo.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next.
I'd like to make a motion to open the public comment portion of this application. Sullivan?
Second, DeMarzo.
All in favor?
Aye.
So anyone who has anything they would like to share with the board about this particular application, please come forward now.
Seeing no one come forward, I move to close the public portion of the application. Sullivan?
Second, DeMarzo.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
I have a question.
We might have a few questions just before. So, Mr. Brazzi?
One, you are in the MUA 208 area, correct? So you just have to run a line.
We're in the sewer service area. correct?
So then you're just running a line to connect, right?
Well, the existing building already has service. There is sewer available in front of the site, so we're providing a new lateral for the new building.
Okay. Did they give you a preliminary already?
I'm not sure if we heard back yet.
Okay, but you did file for it.
We did submit the application.
Anyone else? Mr. Heller?
Just for the neighbor and what he asked about earlier, what remedies does a neighbor have, just for my own curiosity as well? Like Sundays, if there is, they testify they're not being open, if there is work happening there.
Mr. Cole, code enforcement?
Code enforcement?
Yeah, Shimshi, so what happens is that we build that restriction into the resolution. That resolution then becomes part of the file that the zoning officer and code enforcement officers have like in their office. Anything transpires and code or zoning catches wind of it, they go into the file and they pull whatever approvals are associated with that lot. They then conduct, an investigation or do a site inspection or whatever to see if there's any violations. Typical kind of detective work for those guys, and they base it off of whatever's in the resolutions or approval documents that go into their files. So simple, goes out to the site, does inspection, sees it as a condition. If they're in violation of it, they get a notice of violation or a cease and desist or something like that.
And when, we don't know what the previous hours of operation were approved of. So when would this take place? When would that approval for these hours take place? As of tonight?
No, it would be when they get the new zoning permit for the new use, and that's, after the resolution compliance period. So whatever standards they're currently working off of is existing at the time. And when they go and get building permits for the new building, once they're past the resolution compliance phase and they've got their zoning permit, that's when this new resolution kicks into gear, because that's when the approval goes into effect essentially once the zoning permit gets issued. And then they walk the zoning permit over to the building department to get the building permits, and then they can start construction on the new site. And the new tenants would be obligated to comport with the restrictions of the resolution.
So, sir, you understand that we can't say what the hours of operation are now because we're not in control of that. We don't know what it passed as.
Whatever the prior approval is what is the governing standard for right now. We don't know that because that's not part of the application.
I have two things.
Yeah.
Mr. Shea, to get resolution compliance, like you say, and the time to do it, that you're regarding all the outside agencies, they must get all that before they can get into resolution compliance and
yeah.
apply for a permit.
So in every resolution, and quite frankly, pursuant to the municipal land use law, you have to obtain every outside agency approval prior to being issued a zoning permit. So you can't even get the building permit unless you get the zoning permit. You can't get the zoning permit unless every outside agency is comported with. If one of them shoots you down, then that triggers a mechanism whereby the applicant's got to come back before the board.
Awesome.
So
I have another question. You had an environmental impact statement. Have you heard from our environmental commission at all on this?
I have not seen any comments back.
So
from the
would you
Environmental Commission.
stipulate that if you get a letter back from our environmental commission, which I know just recommends, cannot approve or disapprove, that if they have a problem and you can't satisfy their needs, would you come back in front of us to address it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else? You may wrap. Oh, gentlemen, anything from you? Thank you. Wrap it up.
We've said a lot. You heard the application. We believe we've put together, along with the board's comments and stipulations. We think it's a very nice application. We think it is going to improve the site. So I believe I missed the name of the neighbor. He indicated, and I agree with him, over the years, it has been through many different owners, and that's kind of where I think some of the issues came. I do believe that once this application gets finished up, gets approved, gets through resolution compliance, and gets built, it will alleviate some of those concerns, and it will be it will be an improvement for that whole area. And I would ask the board to vote in favor of the application.
Thank you. Looking for a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve this application with the required C1 and C2 variances, but also with the stipulations that they have agreed to. And that is it. Sullivan.
I'd like to second that motion, especially for the gentleman in the back. Knowing the area, they can't do too much that wouldn't improve something there. That whole thing's been kind of a mess for years, Herman Road, the whole thing. I understand that totally. I think this application addresses part of that or some of it, and with the stipulations put in, it would help address more of it. So I make a motion to approve.
We'll have a roll call, please.
Mr. Brezzi,
Yes.
Ms. DeMarzo,
Yes.
Mr. Heller,
Yes, and I really hope that road gets vacated because that's much cleaner.
Mr. Parks,
Yes.
Mr. Rogers,
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan,
Yes.
Dr. Campbell.
I always enjoy these meetings because I learn so much. And the vacation is not a trip that we're taking. The vacation of this street is a very interesting issue. So I did learn a great deal about that, and I vote yes. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we need a vacation.
And we need a vacation from the vacating. And we'll take a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to close this meeting. Sullivan?
Second, DeMarzo.
All in favor?
Aye.
And thank you for coming tonight, ladies and gentlemen.